The markets took a nosedive, and we have to understand why it's not just what they're saying it is, it's so much deeper. In this video, we are going to talk about obviously the Federal Reserve and their inaction. Today, we have to talk about the war that's going on. We have to look at the valuations, what Mark Zuckerberg is talking about, and everything in between. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. You thought that everything was going up and that everything was doing so well and that this would never end. And yet, we're coming back to reality. Every single time things look so good and so optimal, things change very fast. And you know that, of course, because we've seen this pattern over and over again. Kevin Warsh, the new Fed chair, came out today and said, we're not going to raise interest rates. We are not going to cut interest rates. We're going to leave them right where they are. And this initially caused a great reaction in the markets. Things were up, things were looking great. And then it turned around very fast. Fed Chairman Warsh's credibility is in question after leaving interest rates unchanged. Interesting. Now you had this 9-3 vote, so there was a few people saying, actually, no, we got to increase rates. Others said, no, we're going to leave it where it is. Investors lowered the odds of a near-term rate hike, but pushed long-term Treasury yields higher after the Fed chairman's press conference. So remember, 2 p.m., you have the original statement, the official statement that comes out, and then the market starts to process that information, and it did, and then it started to look better. And then what happened? Here we are. They went crazy. Investors are right here. Warsh declined to spell out what would make him raise rates, consistent with his move away from forward guidance. So the markets are going to be left guessing. That's a problem. So obviously, during this period of time, they were unable to get what they wanted out of the markets, and they really, really took a nosedive. The Dow drops 1,100 points. Now, it's not the first time it's done that, but it is one of the few. Only a few times it's done this in history, a handful of times anyway. And as they say here, it's it's not just one thing, and you have to break that down on all levels. There's more to it, of course, but here's one of those factors, and that is the U.S. striking Iran after surprise missile attack, dashing hopes of a de-escalation. And the fresh strikes come after the IRGC targeted American forces in the Gulf region with multiple ballistic missiles. So the U.S. obviously responded, and here we are, an escalation yet again. If we check oil prices, you see WTI crude at approximately $84 a barrel. It's elevated, but not crazy. I think the market's kind of hoping and praying that we do get some sort of de-escalation. JD Vance had said recently that he believes that, there's going to be these ups and downs and these swings as things get heated and then they cool down and so on. And if you look at any other ceasefire that has happened before, it's never just a one and done, okay? It's always going to be up and down. And that's what we can hope for here, that things de-escalate, both sides. They lose on some things, they gain on some others, and that's how negotiations take place. But what we have right now is an increase, an escalation. That is not good, okay? Because everything goes on the table where you start to have, a situation, there's, okay, we're only going to do this and we're only going to do that. And then suddenly, as things get worse and worse, you start to see, okay, well, fine, you want to do that? Then we're going to employ this, we're going to do this. And that presents itself with a problem for everybody involved and those who are simply lying in the middle. You have to look at this very carefully because this is going to affect everybody. Borrowing costs are up like crazy. Market warning signals flare again as tech and inflation fears intensify. So that's part of it. Looking at what's going on with AI stocks crashing. You look at what's happening in the Middle East, not a good thing. You have this. Warsh took over, and he said he had no tolerance for inflation. And, we have to get it down to that 2% level. That is our target. And then what did they do? They didn't cut that all. They didn't want to spook the markets. Ah, that's right. They didn't increase at all. They didn't cut at all. They didn't want to spook the markets. Let's just leave it where it is. And yet the markets got spooked. Now, we'll see what happens when the market opens, but this isn't very healthy. We think the Fed will probably not hike. It could be odd for it to do so right now, right after the better June inflation print, given an uncomplicated path to hike in September if needed. We will see what happens. We're just shy of this moment when the Federal Reserve is going to have this chance to increase. Will they? I don't know. I believe that they're hoping for a situation that, just continues to get better in between now and then. But the bond market is saying, I don't want any part of this. I'm freaking out. You see here, the US 30-year government bonds are at the same level that they were during the financial crisis. That's how worried the market really is. The bond market shows its true colors. And over these last few years, it has been continuously rising. This shows that there is worry, that there is concern. There are many reasons to be concerned. It's not just because of the new situation with the war. You have to know how this works. When there is the threat that things will become worse, maybe it's the unpayable debt, maybe it could be just for a number of reasons. You see bond yields rising. And right now, we are getting that. This is never a healthy sign. At the same time, bond yields rising could be, depends on the circumstance, but could be bearish for gold, because many of the big investment funds, they may choose gold when it's going up and it's looking attractive. But as soon as bonds become more attractive, they feel that this is a safe haven, at least for those financial institutions. They believe bonds are a safe haven. If they're going to get a very attractive 5.2%, well, it makes sense for them. And that changes fast, let me tell you. So we can look at different things. I have the top-down view here in the Money GPS. When we look at the markets, we have to assess what has happened. Very recently, of course, the S&P 500, if you look at it, I'll zoom in, it has been getting these lower highs. And that is not a healthy market. Okay, it's going to always be fluctuating and so on. However, when we look at it over this period of time, zooming out, you could see that it has not had the same gains that it had over the last while. Zooming out, though, you can see we encounter these instances where the market goes up and then it kind of, sort of can't get past there, and then it comes down and then it spikes back up. It's like a huge wave that's going on. And it depends, of course, on the index itself. That was the S&P 500. But you can look at the other ones. And the point here is that we have so many things that are adding up that make it hard, a very hard sell right now with all of these things. So just be wary and just be cautious. I'm not saying that you shouldn't get into something, but you should be cautious and put your money to work. There's no doubt about that. If I look at something like Tesla, for instance, this is the moneygps.com. This is the free stock analyst. You get like a very limited view into the full stock analyst, but I did this for free so that people who simply can't afford the full package, which in my opinion is very reasonable, but If you can't, then get the free stuff. Okay? Don't just sit there. Is Tesla a buy right now? I've like I've said before, take it with a grain of salt. All it's doing is kind of adding up all this data and then making this determination. All right. So looking at this, you could see each and every day it's moving. In the case of Tesla, it's been beaten recently, absolutely beaten. $450, now sitting under 300. What's going on with this? Well, you could claim that it's, the stock. Well, look at where it's been. It becomes overvalued. For example, this is the RSI. It becomes overvalued, and ever since then, it's been declining. And then it becomes oversold. And it might stay there for a little while, who knows? But in previous instances, whenever it becomes oversold, it starts to get bought up again. Why? Speculation. Speculation is something that drives these markets. It's driving the bond market. Of course, there's fear, but you have speculation in commodities more than anything else. And of course, that's oil. That's what happens. But you look at it when all these AI stocks, what happened? What pushed it to these levels? Of course, when you zoom out and see it for yourself, these things are happening in cycles. You have to look at these AI stocks. Take for just Nvidia and whatever, all of these different companies. They're within the tech field, but we zoom out and you look at it from that top-down view and you start to say, okay, what's happening in that sector? What's going on here? And when I start to look at the sector itself, then I can understand, is it the company or is it the sector? That's why I included this feature of the top-down, because you can see it one level at a time. And you could say, okay, well, the S&P 500 overall looks pretty healthy. But then I come down technology, things are getting kind of crazy right now. Things are getting overheated. And then we look at the individual stock and then we start to add up all the technical indicators. Are the insiders buying or selling? So on and so forth. We start stacking these things and then you realize, wait a minute, I have a different idea of what's going on. That's how we take the news and then we make it actionable. I hope you appreciate that. Hit that thumbs up button if you do. That's how you support me here at this channel. I have built the best financial software that there is. It's themoneygps.com, and we just had new joiners right now in the last 24 hours. People are joining up because they're seeing it and realizing this is pretty cool. And then you can look at the 129 features that the app has. I told the insiders on the Finance Friday, I had told them, I'm going to stop creating features. Okay, guys, it's just a little too much. I'm going to stop creating it. And I lied to them because every week it would just continuously add up. And then now I'm just not going to say that anymore because I'm probably just going to keep adding more and more, not just add more for the sake of it, but to make it better and more actionable. Like I said, if you don't want to pay for stuff, there's a lot of free stuff on the site. So many things, from the foundational principles, which is Compass, you'll see it there, as well as all kinds of other stuff. I hope you will check it out, and I want to ask you to give that thumbs up, comment below, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.